All right, today we're diving into a really huge partnership. We're talking about two absolute tech titans, Alibaba and NVIDIA, joining forces. And this isn't just some minor deal. It's a massive power play that could completely reshape the future of AI, our cars, and yeah, even humanoid robots. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so to really get why this is such a big deal, you have to understand the stakes. We're talking about a global AI market that's projected to be worth almost $200 billion by 2031. That is a huge prize to be fighting for.
So when you see a number that big, you know the race to build the actual foundations of AI is going to be absolutely fierce. It really brings up the big question, right? Who's actually going to win this thing? And you know what? Strategic partnerships, exactly like this one, might just be the key.
So let's talk about that race, because this isn't just some casual investment we're seeing. Nope. This is an all-out, high-stakes sprint for total AI dominance. And what we're seeing is a major strategic shift. Just in the first half of 2024, Chinese tech giants like Alibaba started pouring insane amounts of money into AI infrastructure. See, this isn't about just playing around with AI anymore. They're going all in, building out the heavy-duty capabilities they need to grab a huge slice of this exploding market. And that brings us right to the two companies at the center of all this. Seriously, you can think of this partnership as a kind of tech dream team. They're bringing together two very different but perfectly complementary sets of skills. So let's break down what each one brings to the table. You've got Alibaba, right? They've got the massive cloud infrastructure, their super powerful Qwen AI models, and just global scale. Then you have NVIDIA, who are, let's be honest, the undisputed champs of high-performance GPUs. Plus, they have cutting-edge car platforms and physical AI software. It's basically the perfect match. Alibaba is the giant brain, and NVIDIA provides the raw processing muscle to make it all happen at lightning speed. Okay, but how are they actually plugging all this stuff together? Well, it's pretty direct. NVIDIA's software is going to run on Alibaba's platform, and Alibaba's AI models, they're getting baked right into NVIDIA's car tech. The whole point here is to slash the development time for these insanely complex systems, like assisted driving and embodied intelligence, which is really just a fancy way of saying, making robots that can actually move and think in the real world. So, what does all this tech talk actually mean for us? What are we going to see in the real world? Well, let's start with the most obvious one, making our cars a whole lot smarter.
The biggest challenge for self-driving cars right now isn't just about seeing what's on the road. It's about understanding it and reacting to all the crazy, unpredictable stuff that happens. A huge part of the problem is that there's no single standard way to classify all these different driving situations, and that's a problem this partnership is trying to solve head-on.
And here's how they're planning to do it, in 3 steps. First, they're classifying all these driving scenarios based on what's actually happening, creating a sort of common language for the AI. Then, they use that data to predict potential dangers before they happen. And what's the end game? A system that needs way less help from a human driver, which means it's ultimately safer and a lot more reliable. And you can bet there's a massive financial reason to get this right. We're talking about a market for car data that's expected to be worth over $19 billion by 2030. That's right. All that data your car is constantly generating, it's incredibly valuable. And by building the AI brain that processes all of it, Alibaba and NVIDIA are putting themselves in the perfect position to grab a huge piece of that pie. But hey, this isn't just about cars. This partnership is also taking on one of the biggest headaches in robotics, that absolute nightmare of software integration. For years, getting all the different systems inside a humanoid robot to talk to each other without becoming a tangled mess has been a huge roadblock for creating real embodied intelligence. And the timing here is just perfect. I mean, the humanoid robotics scene in China is absolutely exploding right now. We're talking over 50 new companies popping up in just the last year or so. This partnership gives them a powerful, ready-made platform that could easily become the go-to standard in what's becoming a very crowded and competitive space.
Now, of course, when two giants make a move this big, people notice. So let's talk about how the market reacted and also look at some of the potential dangers here.
Well, investors didn't waste any time. They reacted almost instantly, sending Alibaba's stock soaring over 10%.
Which was a 4-year high. And what that tells us is that Wall Street sees this as a huge turning point. It's a signal that we're moving past just experimenting with AI and getting into real-world applications that can actually make money.
But it's not all smooth sailing. There's a pretty big risk on the horizon. Overcapacity. We're hearing reports that a lot of these brand new AI data centers in China are just
sitting empty, unused. And that kind of waste and market saturation could really threaten long-term growth if they're not careful.
So where does all this go from here? What's the big picture long-term vision for this power couple?
Well, their goals are nothing short of ambitious. First, they want to bring down computing costs, which would make it way easier for all kinds of businesses to adopt AI. They're also planning a huge global push for Alibaba's cloud services into places like Brazil and France. And ultimately, what they really want is to set a whole new standard for how AI gets used in giant industries like logistics and retail.
And all of this leaves us with one last, really important question to think about. As these incredibly powerful AI systems, built by just a handful of giant companies, get integrated into everything we do, our cars, our warehouses, you name it, it really makes you wonder, who's ultimately in the driver's seat? Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.